Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Today we have an FTP test I did 2 weeks ago, but it took me a while to just make this video. It's kind of busy. But anyway, let's just jump right into it. We are at, it looks like 6 minutes in, which is right when the second step starts. Basically, for the trainer road FTP test, it's a RAM test, and first 5 minutes of it is just a warm-up. So they keep you at, I think, like 60% of your FTP or 50. You just go really easy to kind of just get your legs moving. And then even after that first couple of steps, a couple of minutes, so the RAM test goes up 6% every minute. And every minute, or at least for first 10 minutes, is still super light as far as power. You can see me here starting Spotify because I need some music before it gets really hard. But yeah, so first couple of minutes are going to be easy. My current FTP is 400, or before this test, we'll see where we get. I actually went down from 401 the last time, so my FTP earlier this year I broke 400, I got 401. You can see all my Spotify playlists. And then I tested 6 weeks ago, I got 400. And that video is also on the channel if you want to see that. And so now I'm starting from 400 and hoping to get, to push upper, closer to 410 and see really what I can get this year. Kind of the goal is to get to 420, but we'll see. It's a long winter ahead. And you can see my teammates. So I'm doing this test as a group workout, which TrainWord offers this service where you can do a group workout. So you basically all join up into the same room and kind of do workouts together, which is pretty cool and neat idea, and really helps in these COVID times, which are hopefully almost over. But here we're already at minute 8. And we are hitting 280 watts, which is still high endurance for me, so still chilling. My heart rate was a bit higher on this RAM test. I do remember that. I was really, when I do get really excited about something, or I do, overthink some stuff, like RAM test, I overthink every time. My heart rate does tend to go up, especially when I'm nervous as well, which is what I noticed. But interesting with heart rate, there is a, if you watch the video that I did on intervals.icu website, there is this thing they track called efficiency. It's basically your power divided by your heart rate. I tend to try and stay above 2 for my efficiency. I guess it really depends on your, really depends on individual level where you would be with that statistic or that metric. But for me, anything about 2 or over is I consider it really good. So if I'm pushing a lot of power or doing hard intervals, I want to be over 2 for the efficiency. So I know that as soon as I pass that power here, so once we go up to 320, 330, if I stay closer to 160 heart rate, my efficiency then is kind of matching what I usually do in practice. So I think that's actually going to happen. So I wasn't too worried about my heart rate, once I passed that point. But I was kind of worried about it initially when it was very high for the lower powers. As you can see, I'm also trying to run Zwift in the background. I like be stimulated from all possible angles, do a lot of things, so I'm not really thinking about the pain. So that's just a preference for me. And as far as training, I did sweet spot high volume, which is when I was trying to review my weeks in training, which kind of got boring, so I kind of stopped doing those videos. But I did sweet spot high volume, which is basically, I think, 6 sweet spot workouts or 5 sweet spot workouts a week. That was pretty tough. It kind of required me to sacrifice a lot around training. Like I had to really be good with eating, be good with sleeping. If I did anything wrong in a day, my workout, I would either fail or almost fail or just feel really tired or really bad about it. So I pushed through one of the blocks with high volume, but then I dropped back to mid volume plan. So mid volume plan is, I have to double check, but I believe 4 sweet spot workouts a week, and they do throw in some over-unders there as well, which means that, it gives me more flexibility as far as training. So if I'm doing, hard workout one day, the next day I can do an easier workout. I can, throw in some zone 1, zone 2 rides, which help recovery and just, help me in general, just not feeling so exhausted and so like on the edge with every workout. And I do think that, doing 6 sweet spots a week, it is a bit too hard. I don't think that's really what I want to do. But for some people it works, some people can handle it. I think as long as you're absorbing the training, that's all that matters. And if you're getting faster, that's all that matters. Here I'm taking off the bibs, so we're getting serious. We are now hitting my normal sweet spot zone. So usually when I'm doing sweet spot, I'm hovering around 360 to 380 watts. Because it's for the sweet spot mid volume first block, it's usually about 88 to 94% of your FTP. Looks like in the second block that we just started actually right after this FTP test, the actual percentages kind of go up, more like 95 to 99%, which is more closer to your actual threshold. So it's more of a threshold work than it is sweet spot work, but so far it's been going well. I'm adjusting slowly through the new FTP that we'll see. Hopefully by the end of this I get hopefully higher than it was. So here heart rate is 175. So my threshold heart rate is about 180, and I know that from my old rowing days it was usually about 180. My max heart rate in rowing and cycling is around 200. I think the max I ever got in cycling was 202, max I ever got in rowing was 205. So it's around 200 is what I call it. It's rare that I actually hit 200 on a bike, but when I do, I know I can. So yeah, I know 180 is about my threshold, so I'm currently almost hitting my threshold heart rate, so anything above that, it gets really tough. I think I've noticed that, and I don't know if you guys notice this as well, but if I'm hovering between 175 and 180, there is this invisible wall that it's super hard, and once I pass 182, 183, it starts getting easier again. But between 177 and 182, that part for a couple of minutes is just extremely hard for me. But then for some reason it gets easier. I don't know why it is. Probably have to look into that, but just some anecdotal stuff to add to my list of shit. And another thing that I started doing is I actually added a humidity sensor to the room, because I was really interested to see how, first of all, how much I actually increased the humidity in the room itself. My average for the past couple of days was the room would usually be around 30 to 40% humidity, and then as I would start my workout halfway through, it would go up to 70, and then by the end probably closer to 80% humidity. So, and even though I have the AC running, you can see it, in a window over there. The humidity itself, the AC doesn't really do, the temperature stays about the same throughout the workout, which I guess the AC does work, but it just feels so much hotter because of the humidity itself. So it's something interesting to keep track of and to see how it actually affects my training and how I feel and all of those, those things. Especially RPE as well. But yeah, I think maybe in the future I need to get a small dehumidifier for your room and see if that actually helps if you're feeling too hot and especially when you can't breathe or you feel like you can't breathe. I think that's mostly down to the humidity and not really the heat, which is what I always thought. So interesting thing happening there. Alright, we are hitting 450 watts. If you saw the last FTP test I did, I had some issues with actually holding my power exactly or close to the target power. That's because I don't typically use erg mode, and today again I'm not using an erg mode. I don't like using erg mode in general. Feels like I'm always lagging power, in a sense where, you know, when I'm using resistance mode, I'm in charge of that power. Like I'm pushing up or down. With erg mode, it's kind of forcing me to specific power, and then I have to use cadence to kind of push up and down, which I don't particularly like. So, being on the resistance mode, I feel like this test was much better as far as consistency of hitting the targets. I'm even going over now, which is versus on the last test. I remember I was going under on some of the steps, which actually costed me. And you know, even though I hit this magical 19 minutes 30-second mark, which is a break even on the RAM test, I actually lost a watt in my FTP, and that's because my steps, few of my steps before were under the target power, which is why I like the training road test. It doesn't, typically on a RAM test, you would take 0.75 or 75% of your best minute power and take it as your FTP. Training road has more calculations on the back end where it does look at all the steps before, and if you went, you know, too much over or too much under, it will take away from that number. So you really got to stay on target if you want to have your accurate FTP. And now we're getting really close to 500 watt mark, and this is where the fun actually begins. So when I did my first ever FTP test, I remember barely getting, you know, just to 500 for a couple of seconds, and thinking, man, this is impossible. There's no way I can ever do that again. But you know, as all things in life, you do it more and more, and you kind of get used to it. So what I did here is I open up the little screen where you can see the data. It actually gives you a live FTP estimate. So currently it's estimating if I stop right now, I would be at 370 watts. So I know I have to go more. And I know that I'm at 18 minutes and 19:30 is a break even. So I have another minute and a half to go just to get to what I was. And I'm already hurting a lot. As you can see, my body is now going all over the place. You can kind of see my face in a little camera screen at the bottom there for the trainer road screen. Honestly, I don't remember anything past this point. So I guess the RAM test worked. Here we go. Come on! Almost to 19. The estimated FTP is going up slowly, 390 now. I find that estimate FTP helps me push a couple extra watts at the end of the test. Just mentally, it's a nice thing to have. It just helps me go just a little bit longer. And we are almost at 1930. And guys, this is really hard. 540 watts after, 19 minutes is just, it just hurts a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, we hit 1930 and we got our 401, 402. So we did improve on our FTP. I'm gonna let you guys listen to the last couple of seconds of this. And that's it. The new FTP is 406 watts. I'm pretty happy with that. I think the next test I can probably hit 410. This was extremely hard, so I will see how much higher I can actually go, but I'm really happy with this. I did a block of mid-volume sweet spot before this, and I did the mid-volume after I did a high volume, as I said, so I wasn't really sure how that's going to affect the whole training, because I was doing less volume than before, but for me it works better. Obviously, as you can see, my FTP is going up. So yeah, we'll stay tuned for more. I do have another video coming where I actually failed a workout, so I want to talk to you guys about how you actually go through go through that when you fail a workout, when it doesn't go the way you want or the way you plan. How I handle that, and how I recoup and recover, and then how I hit it again. So thank you all for watching. I will try and do more of these. It's been kind of hectic lately, so I've been kind of off my game, but yeah, keep pedaling, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.